Good afternoon, 49er faithful. Welcome to another episode of the live member call-in show here on the channel, where members of the channel, lovingly referred to as sneakerheads, being members of Rob Schuh's channel, get to call in and give their thoughts about the 49ers. Pick my brain, I pick their brain. We have a whole dialogue about whatever the heck it is you want to talk about. Those of you that want to participate that are not members of the channel, you are not left out. All you need to do is participate live in the chat. We will get your comments involved in the show. We will get your comments onto the screen. So never fret. Whether you are a member of the channel or not, you can be a part of this dialogue as we break it down. And we will be going towards Thursday Night Football. That's going to be the hard deadline there. If we have the callers to take us through to Thursday Night Football, we will wrap up then. A little pregame action. Very excited for the 49ers upcoming games. Want to get to the comments here. Charles Thurman, Sneakerhead, here on the channel says, Rob, keep on keeping on. Go 49ers. Need some wins. We absolutely need some wins. Here's what I predicted for the 49ers coming into this season. Thought that they would be 2-2. Now, I got the games that they won and lost wrong. Thought they would win at Chicago. Thought they would win at week 2 against the Seahawks. Thought they would lose to Denver, lose to LA. Obviously flipped Chicago and LA on that, but did end up at 2-2 after 4 games. After 6 games, I have the 49ers at 4-2. So I'm predicting back-to-back road wins here. I think the Niners need to do that because the games get tougher after that. It's KC coming back home to Levi's, then down to Levi's South at SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams yet again and try and go 3-0 in the division to start the year. Alan Eliza coming in. Rob Schuh, Sneakerheads, and everyone. Happy Friday Eve. Debo that like button. Rob, do you think Danny Gray will have a role in the offense this week, or was he selected mostly for Trey Lance? Go 49ers. I do think that Danny Gray is much better when paired with a quarterback who can throw the ball deep. Trey Lance is a far better deep passer than Jimmy Garoppolo. However, I'm of the opinion that you just chuck the thing up there, and he's so damn fast that he's going to run underneath it. So my hope is that they still utilize the young gentleman. Maybe not quite as much, but to some extent. Coming out against Carolina, that's a tough call. I think you start to look at how many times has Malik Turner been promoted. You start to look at these number of promotions from the practice squad. Eventually, they're going to need to suit up Danny Gray if they're going to keep him on the 53, and you would think that they are. Raphael 5629ers coming in to say, what's up, Rob, Sneakerheads, and everyone. And the Stivers Niners 209 show coming in to say, Rob, go 49ers. Kevin coming in from across the pond. Love a bit of pregame action. All right, we've gotten through those that are here in the chat. If you're here watching now, do me that favor. Hit that like button. Promote the signal on the channel. We are bringing in Korean 49er to the stream to begin talking about our Niners. Hey, Korean 49er, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today, my friend?
Not too bad, Rob. How are you tonight?
You know, I'm doing better, man. I had that cold that I came down with. I'm pretty sure I picked it up while I was there in Denver. So went out there, suffered through a very painful loss, a monumental defensive performance, which made the loss that much more painful. Then I go to dinner afterwards, and while I'm trying to drown my sorrows in a ribeye steak, Russell Wilson and Sierra come into the next room and take over the frickin' steakhouse. So I'm feeling even worse. And then I come home and I get a cold. So it was a triple whammy. I'm only feeling better because of the win on Monday night, and the cold has finally passed.
It was a good win on Monday night. You can't never say anything bad about wins.
It was a great for sure.
Couple things, a couple questions for you, Rob.
Yes, sir.
I don't see Kyle as a genius. Not to say I ever did to begin with.
Right.
To me, you have Jimmy, and you already know his limitations, and you bring him back. That's Kyle's choice. I'm not gonna say anything about it. But you have weapons like Brandon Ayuk that's only getting 1 or 2 catches a game. I thought you were smart enough to find ways of getting him, scheming him open. To me, it looks like you're not doing so. Doing some bunch formations or anything like that, or route combinations where he would find, have a better way of getting open. Not sure if you're thinking about something like that. And also, to me, it looks like Kittle is definitely slowed down because he's more or less a 6 offensive lineman at this point. With injuries to McKivitz and Trent Williams, it's, Jalen Moore looked like a turnstile at times, and
He looked atrocious. The ironic thing, though, is that Kittle is still running pretty close to the same number of routes. He's just not getting the targets. That's the wild thing. Is like, I agree. At first glance, it feels like Trent's out. They're keeping him in the block. But the reality of routes run is that it's fairly consistent for him over the last 4 years. But it is a decline from each year to the next, with this year being the worst.
Yep. And what do you think about trying to do the bunch formations on receivers to get certain?
So I think you're onto something
open
here, but I would argue a counterpoint to this, which would be that I don't think this is an illustration of a lack of genius in Kyle Shanahan, which I know is your assertion here, or at least your belief. And I would say, to me, that the genius is clear in the ability to design plays and design an offense, which then the rest of the league begins to copy. Imitation being the sincerest form of flattery, that when other coaches throughout the league take these concepts and run with them, it illustrates to me that they are some of the superior schemes within the league. But to your point of Kyle Shanahan and some of his failings, because I make no argument that Kyle Shanahan is perfect, nor that he is a phenomenal head coach. I think he has areas he needs to improve in. But I believe what you're highlighting here is the issue, but it's not illustrating his lack of genius. It's illustrating a bit of stubbornness. And I think that that's one of Kyle's Achilles heels. Two of them come to mind. Extremely stubborn. If you tell Kyle he can't do something, I think he wants to do it even more intently. And then secondly would be, it feels like he tightens up in key moments. And I think that that's something that is possible to move beyond, but hard to do. So both of those are concerning to me. But the former is what I think you're describing there, which is he's stubborn and he says, no, I have a vision for this offense and I'm going to continue to tinker with it until how I see this offense comes out and matriculates on the field. Whereas to you and I, we're like, just get the damn ball to Ayuk, just get the goddamn ball to George Kittle. And he's not thinking that.
And that's fair. I mean, he's going to call the plays that he thinks going to get the best outcome. So
sure.
Who knows? One thing I've also noticed is he hates rotating players because Elijah Mitchell, we miss him on the field, but it looks like he just runs him, and he's going to eventually wear out. To me, why did you we always find these players that are undrafted and lower round picks that are pretty decent players, and
yes,
wouldn't it be good to have let's just say. Can't remember the running back from Georgia Tech we got.
Jordan Mason?
Jordan Mason, yes. Wouldn't it be nice to have him be, in a few drives here and there just to see what he can do? I mean, he got that 7-yard gain. I'm like, and then he disappears. It's like, that doesn't make any sense.
To your point, like, eventually he's going to run Jeff Wilson Jr. into the ground, and Jordan Mason's not going to be ready to take the carries, man. Like, get him a few right now. Just a few. I wonder if, LA, that was a tight game. We dominated them physically. And after the Robbie Gould miss, we were up 8 and they had the ball. So that was a tight game. And I felt like Shanahan called it as such. He was his more conservative self in like, hey, this is a tight game. One mistake could lose it for us. I'm just going to count on our defense to play lights out. And we're going to play mistake-free football on offense. So I guess I understand not getting the carries for Mason in that one. If we don't see it against Carolina, which I anticipate will be a bit of a mismatch in a talented roster against a less talented roster, if we don't see Jordan Mason at this point, my frustration will continue to build.
And that's fair. And one other thing that I always think about is with Kyle, his dad won with an elite quarterback and elite center.
Yeah.
I can't remember the 49ers
line
center.
Play across the board.
I can't remember the 1994 center for the 49ers off the top of my head. I'll have to go look at that one. But didn't Mike win with John Elway, Tom Nalen, and Steve Young at the very least during his coaching career? So I'm trying to be convinced that you're going to take Jimmy and go over the top with him. It could happen.
It could.
It's possible.
If Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer can do it, anybody can. But it takes a historically great defense typically when that's the case.
Yes, and eventually everyone says, this defense is a really good defense. And I'm not doubting that, but even the 1985 Bears, they had games where they had to score lots of points, enough points to, give a little bit of margin to their
It's
defense
true.
too.
But
And I
hey,
don't see
if Jim McMahon can quarterback a Super Bowl winning team, then Jimmy Garoppolo can do it.
Jim McMahon could throw down the field. I don't see Jimmy being able to do that.
Fair point. Hey, Jimmy does have his skills, though. You got to admit, after watching an efficient game against the Rams and that calling to mind how he plays against Los Angeles, that quick release, the ability to hit tight windows in the middle of the field, that's a legitimate skill set. Would you concur with that statement, that is a legitimate skill set that not every quarterback in the league possesses?
That's fair. I mean, I don't see Jimmy being, the resurrecting of Dan Marino.
No.
He got the big arm, could throw, who had all those touchdowns in that second season where he lost to the 49ers. But all we can ever ask of Jimmy is just don't make any turnovers. That's all we ask.
Yes. Don't make any turnovers. Don't throw it directly to the defense. Hey, if it's tipped and intercepted, that's one thing. But if you throw it directly to a linebacker, that's when I have a heart attack. Absolutely. I want to bring in a couple of the chats here. Definitely going to. Someone took offense to something I said about Jimmy G, but I thought I was kind. Prince KO, Sneakerhead here on the channel, says, Rob, number 32 offense versus the number 1 defense. That's the matchup we got coming against Carolina. I'm thrilled to see this. This is an instance where we should have a lead. This shouldn't be a heart attack game. This should be an opportunity to get Jordan Mason some carries. This should be an opportunity to force the ball to George Kittle. So again, I need to see this offense complement the defense a little bit better. This is the game I'm looking for it. Ekem, do you think that that's going to be the case? Will we be able to beat up on a lesser opponent this weekend?
I believe that to be the case. If they could end the game sometime in the third quarter, just go for it. Let's not waste our time and keep a team that's not as good in it, because the old boxing adage: if you don't knock them out, if you still give them a chance later on, they may have a belief that they may come back and win.
It's absolutely true. I mean, I always go to the poker reference, a chip in a chair, man. You leave them in it, they could come back. They could double up on you. They could make it a 1-score game, and then all of a sudden you can let them beat you in a game where you physically dominated them. I mean, it's wild to me. EMA Beats comes in to say, Rob Schuh, very glad Juice got some touches last game. Kyle has underused him tremendously offensively. Offensively, the blocking is a great ability. However, his dependency with touches is top tier. Feed Juice. I was thrilled to see Juice get both the carry and the toss, the catch out there. Wonderful to see Juice get involved. I feel like it hypes up the offense. I like everybody gets excited when Juice gets it. I said it on the program earlier this week. It feels like one of those big man touchdowns where the rest of the linemen get fired up because he got to touch the ball.
Yeah, I believe that's true. So I just want to see the team just end the game as soon as they can, because, as we say, you don't want to ever keep a team that's not as talented as you are stringing them along until, they have a chance of them to say, hey, we got belief.
Yeah. By the way, I was going to say this earlier, 420 Savage, but Jesse Sapolu was the center there. For some reason, right before I said it, I was like, did he play guard? But no, Jesse Sapolu on the 94 team, super nice guy. Got the opportunity to meet and shake his hand at one point. He and Harris Barton, both very nice individuals.
That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure if that was correct. So, but hopefully a big win this weekend is all we could ever ask for.
Hey, man, I think it will be a big win. Who do you see as a potential breakout on offense and on defense? Who's having the big game on each side of the ball?
I'd like to say hopefully Ayuk can get about 6 or 7 catches.
Boom. I like it. And
on defense, I'm going to go with Amenahu. Hopefully he'll get a couple sacks.
Charlie, I was putting that out last night, man. Jordan Elliott, one of our beat reporters, was putting out some info on Twitter, did a highlight reel of Amenahu, and I tagged that thing with the Always Sunny in Philadelphia Charlie meme on there. I'm rooting for Charlie. I want him to get his payday. I want him to hit 7 or 8 sacks. I think he's the guy that deserves the next Chris Kosaric treatment so that he earns himself a multi-million-dollar deal, and I hope I can have him on the program someday.
Yes, I'm in Las Vegas right now, and I saw all the Notre Dame fans since they're playing
Ooh,
BYU at the Raiders Stadium this weekend.
nice.
Not sure how they do that, but whatever. So I'm here for something different. So
Yes, yes. All right. Well, any closing thoughts on the game? Anything you're particularly excited about coming up?
just the opportunity to get another big win. That's all I could ask for.
Big win. Stacking W's in consecutive weeks. That would be oh so sweet to have back-to-back win Wednesdays, because it'll get dark again in Ninerland if we have a loss against Carolina and their 32nd ranked offense.
Yeah, if I see the next two games as being very winnable. Kansas City, if they can't score any points, you can't ask the defense to play as the 85 Bears, but we'll see what happens with that.
We will see. Lester from San Jose says, wasn't it Barton Oates? Now I'm going to have to look this up because, again, my instinct was Jesse may have been a guard on that team, but I got to look it up. I got to confirm. Somebody can Google it while we're chatting here and say, yes, I Googled it and it was so-and-so. I will trust you. I'm foolish like that. Ekim, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Love our dialogues. Love the fact that we can have a difference of opinion around Jimmy G, but we're always super respectful in the way in which we talk about it. And like, I respect your opinion. You seem to respect my opinion. I just want to say thank you for that.
Thanks, Rob. You have a nice weekend.
Thank you. You as well. And go Niners.
Yep.
All right. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Yep.
All right. We will bring in Jaguayo 56 next to the stream. Just have a couple of chats that I wanted to get here. Pete Gorman says, Rob, sorry I'm late. My internet was broken. So many people talking about a shirt Kanye had. Shaking my head. I've not seen the shirt, but it broke the internet, apparently. That's a shame. Kanye, always doing Kanye things. I don't have any Yeezys, speaking to the sneakerheads, but maybe I should get some. Kyle has some, and the players seem to love it. Sean9519 or Sneakerhead here on the channel says, Rob, let's put up 42 points and see Purdy in there running the offense. If we see Purdy in there, even if it's cleanup duty, you know there's going to be some anti-Jimmy fans calling for him the next week as soon as he puts a highlight reel throw up there. That could be dangerous, but I agree with you. I want a game that is not a freaking heart attack, my friend. Rick Diaz. Hey, Rob, good afternoon or good evening. This is Rick. What's going on, Rob? What do you think that the Niners are going to play real good Sunday like they did Monday? Do I think the Niners are going to play really well on Sunday as they did on Monday? Yes, I do. I'm not positive that we can expect as dominant a performance from the defense. Consider this. The defense has played 74 snaps in back-to-back weeks. Now they're traveling on a short week to go play Carolina. I understand Carolina is the 32nd ranked offense at this moment. It's a small sample size. They do have Christian McCaffrey. I don't expect the offense I don't expect the defense to be as dominant as they were. I do expect the offense to continue progression from week to week. Hopefully they progress a little bit from the game against the Rams, which was a good one. All right, one or two more comments, and then I'm definitely getting Jaguayo into the stream. Lester, San Jose, Rob Schuh, do you think there will be opportunities for mop-up duties this weekend? I do. I absolutely do. Sean951 Niners, this is it. Hitting juice provides juice. That is the saying. We got to coin that one. All right, I'm looking to see. Yes, it is. Bart Oates was the center. I'm glad that we now have confirmation. I felt like Jesse Sapulu was a guard. Let me know if I'm right about that one. That was my instinct on it. Someone claiming Derek Deese. Man. Edgardo, super chat. Hold your horses. We have a super chat, ladies and gentlemen. 49ers are so spoiled. How will we pay all these stars? Okay, so the Niners have a top-end heavy roster. They are much like the Los Angeles Rams in that they have a lot of players at max deals at their position. And they have some players coming up they're going to need to pay. Bosa, Brandon Ayuk, just to name two, they're not going to be able to pay everyone. And I think that was why it was so important for players like Talanoa Hufanga to hit at their position, for them to hit on some of the young players like Diamador Lenore, Samuel Womack, to lock down Charvarius Ward. Hopefully they give a contract to Emmanuel Mosley, but it's possible they can't afford him. Now they have Jason Verrett coming back off of injury. So they're going to have to make some choices, much like not being able to keep Laken Tomlinson, not being able to keep DJ Jones. You sign Hassan Ridgeway to a valuable deal. You move Aaron Banks into left guard. When those moves work out, it's great. Now you can build the entire team. If some of those lesser moves, those lesser players, those younger players don't turn into starter level, that's where you have a hole in the roster and not the money to fix it. So we shall see. We get back our first round pick after this next draft so we can start drafting first rounders again. All right, we are bringing in Jaguile56 to the stream. Appreciate the super chats. Appreciate all of the comments. Keep them coming with the @Rob if you're talking to me. Jaguile, welcome to the stream, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Better than last week.
Yes, so much better than last week. Last week was pain. Last week was disappointment. Last week was like an acknowledgement of how special that defense had played and just the disaster of not being able to do enough, having shot ourselves in the foot. It felt like we did not shoot ourselves in the foot even once against the Rams. Maybe you call one of those penalties on third down where we extended a drive a little bit of a snafu, but man, for the most part, clean game, dominant defense, and the offense seemed to be cohesive.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing about it is, Jimmy is going to be Jimmy, and we just have to accept it and move forward and, take it one game at a time. The next game is the Panthers. And I think that as long as he has a clean game, and we can run a little bit more. I mean, we only ran for like 88 yards. I was kind of surprised. Were you surprised that we actually threw more and got more passing yards than rushing yards?
I was a little bit in that it seemed Shanahan was intent on getting the run game going this week, but the game plan against the Rams is quite frequently that fast, quick release pass game where Jimmy manages to get the ball out in 2.4 seconds or fewer, and we tend to shred them with that short game. I was admittedly a little surprised that we went back to that and that it still works against them.
Yeah. And the thing about, I think part of the thing, I think with Jimmy, how he does miss some throws that maybe a top shelf quarterback would make.
Yeah.
But do you think that part of it is him being more cautious and saying, I'd rather just dump it off, get 5 to 8 yards, have them see if they can get yak yards, as opposed to trying to force it in there a little bit more, even though some guys are wide open? Do you think in the back of his head he's just saying, I just don't want to make a mistake. I just don't want to make a mistake?
I do. I think that's the case for both Shanahan and Jimmy at this point. And quite honestly, in that game against the Rams, it was probably the right call. There will be games where aggression is needed, where you have to throw caution to the wind. But with this defense, we'll be in a lot of these matchups. It will come down to the last possession, so long as we don't shoot ourselves in the foot continually on offense. So with that in mind, it feels reasonable to be a little more old school, to be a little more conservative in some of these games. But I also understand people being frustrated with that. You're talking about Shanahan as I would label him as an offensive genius in designing plays, and yet he's unable to get this offense moving on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and the thing I have been pleasantly surprised about is the play of the offensive line.
Yes.
I mean, with the new guards and the new center, it just seems that Jimmy was a little bit more comfortable this game than the Denver game.
Yes.
And also, who do you think will be the starter at left tackle? Do you think it'll be Moore, or do you think that'll be Brunskill?
I think that Moore is going to start, but he will have a short leash, and that Brunskill will be there. And then I've been calling it out because Matt Barrows reported on it, but Blake Hance, I believe, is the name of the gentleman we picked up out of Cleveland. He started 7 games at tackle for them last year, 5 on the right side and 2 on the left, but he hasn't practiced. He's been practicing on the interior with the Niners, as Matt Barrows reported. If he gets some snaps this week, could be that you see him as the primary backup, and Brunskill remains the interior lineman backup, primary backup at center and both the guard spots.
And the talking about the running game and all that, Coach Bobby Turner returned, and I was kind of surprised because I thought he was going to be out for the year and come back next year. And do you think that him coming back, in what capacity do you think? Do you think he took over for the running game as far as like with Anthony Lynn, or you think it's kind of like a coaching thing?
I would guess because he's coming back in rather unannounced, that it's a integration of him back into the room, and that it probably wasn't his full-time effort as he would usually do. I'm thrilled to have him back. I also was under the impression that it was going to be an entire year that he missed. And quite frankly, I was afraid that he was going to retire. I didn't know that we would get Bobby Turner back. Thought maybe it was, a casual way of letting him walk away rather quietly, because had he stayed away the entire season and then announced in the offseason that he wasn't coming back, it would have sort of been swept underneath the rug. Now that he's back, I'm feeling great about it. Maybe we're going to have his contributions for the draft next year. So my guess is, much like these players that are coming back in, you're going to see them eased into action. I've got a question in the chat that I'm going to answer in a little bit about the two players coming back, Jimmy Ward and Jason Verrett, as to whether I would ease them back into game action or whether I would just throw them back in. Let me ask you this question to get your opinion. Gold-blooded asks it. Says, Rob, you're the coach. Do you sprinkle in Ward and Verrett or start them both from the get-go? I like the sprinkle method. For Ward, these next two games, maybe sprinkle Verrett at the slot. What are you feeling? Do we sprinkle them both in, or does one or the other get the start right off of the jump?
If they're both cleared, if Jimmy Ward is cleared, I have to bring in Jimmy Ward.
Yep.
Just because he's been in the system, he's been one of the leaders in the backfield.
Yeah.
And I think he deserves it. If he's ready to go, yeah, he should go in there. And that will make us even stronger, going forward in the next 4 games before the break.
Yep.
So I would do that. Verrett, I would. Lenore is playing good. Mosley's playing good. Who else are you going to replace Verrett?
That's
coming
right.
off that injury, that one I think I would wait a little bit more and see if he can get even more healthy, because we might need him during the second part of the season. Because
yes.
Hopefully not, but maybe there'll be injuries or something like that. So that's kind of what I would do.
You're absolutely echoing my own thoughts there. And Sean 9519ers as well, Sneakerhead here on the channel, says, I don't let Verrett back in until it's a blowout or a defensive back gets hurt. No reason to mess up the current mojo. Ward is a leader. He goes back in for number 31. And that's exactly how you just wrapped it up. I would agree. Jimmy Ward is the most tenured player on defense. Nothing against Tayshaun Gibson. He has filled in admirably. And I believe Jimmy Ward's skill set speaks for itself. Jason Verrett, on the other hand, no, I'm not disrupting the flow to get him in. I will wait until there's a better opportunity, whether that is someone is struggling, you're in a blowout game and you can get him some reps, or the unfortunate circumstance where someone gets dinged up and now you need that body. But I would like to see him slowly eased into action so that it's not all of a sudden he is relied upon to start in a high leverage type of a situation.
Exactly. And also, any word on Mitchell? You think they're just waiting? They're just being cautious with Elijah Mitchell. And if Mason isn't getting in for whatever reason, he doesn't know the playbook, can't pick up the blitz or anything like that, which I don't know. I don't know what else it could be. Do you think that they're being cautious with Elijah and you're just saying, we're just going to ride with Wilson, or what are your feelings on that one?
That's a great question. I think Elijah, the original projection, it looked like it was going to be, hey, he'll be back after the bye at some point. So I've not heard any updates, but as far as I know, the timeline remains similar for Elijah. I thought as soon as Elijah was down, it made sense when it was Elijah Mitchell as a starter that he would get the bell cow share of the load, even though you could make the argument, hey, he can't stay healthy for that number of carries. Please reduce it. But I understand the logic of no, he's a running back. You have to be able to run him. You can't be counting the number of carries. And so once he went down, I thought it would be more of a running back by committee. I honestly did.
Yeah.
Thought that Jeff Wilson Jr. would be getting 10 to 15 carries. Thought that Jordan Mason would be getting 10 carries. Thought you'd see another 5 carries for a Tevin Coleman or a Marlon Mack. And we just haven't seen that yet. I wonder if it will be different against a couple of these teams coming up, particularly this week against Carolina and the following week against Atlanta. If either game tilts in the 49ers' favor, you would assume they'll work in some of these other players. But every now and then, Kyle remains stubborn, even in a blowout win like that.
Yeah, and how about Hufanga? I just so surprised and so happily surprised. And, I'm so glad that he's such a great guy. He's a great young man. And you could tell his film study, and he takes everything so serious because they were asking him at his presser about if he saw Debo's touchdown. He was so into his game that he said, "Oh, he scored a touchdown." They said, "Yeah, he scored the." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." He goes, "I was over there trying to do my adjustments on the sidelines." So you can tell that he takes his job so serious. He didn't even know that Debo had scored. So
that's fantastic.
So that's great. And I hope he continues, and the sky's the limit for him. And
I agree.
And also, I just want to let you know that the Niners are the only team not to allow a touchdown in the first half, and they've only allowed 9 points in the first half all year.
That's huge.
And yeah, every other team has allowed at least 25 points in the first half. This is a tremendous defense. I think at this point, I know it's early. It's only four games.
Very early.
But I think that they are on par with the 85 Bears. For the 85 Bears, as far as the season, the regular season.
Yeah, it's fair to say, hey, well, it's an incomplete, right? It's 4 games, but of those 4 games, it is that type of a pace. I am 1,000% on board with you on that, acknowledging that, as it was said earlier, 1,000% is a lot in the comments as Chaz comes in to highlight. Yeah. Yes, but I am 1,000% on board that this defense is freaking special. And a lot of things have to continue to go right. There are absolutely some bigger tests on the horizon, but there are also some easier ones. And one of those is coming up this weekend. How do you feel we're going to fare against Carolina?
Well, I'm cautiously optimistic because, that's just the way I am all the time.
Yeah.
But I know that the Panther defense is a pretty good defense. They got some players. They're pretty good. And they've even though they have a losing record, they've hung in there like most of the first half, third quarter. After that, it starts to break down a little bit.
Yeah.
But we just gotta go in there and not mess around and score touchdowns early and then let the defense take over. But I would say 24 to 13, something like that, 24 to 14, something like that.
Yeah, I like that. Anytime you're in a double-digit victory, that's a solid win. I'll take that.
Yeah, and so that's about it. And thank you again for your time and your hard work. I know it's hard, and I appreciate it, and I think the faithful appreciate it. You take care, and you stay blessed, and let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. I hope you and your family stay blessed as well. Always such a pleasure talking with you, and always really do appreciate when you say that. So thank you so much. I look forward to connecting again. Hopefully yet another win stacked on top of a dub.
There you go. All right.
You take care. Enjoy the game.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we got a couple of comments to bring in, and then we are on to Bullpup 33 and then CJ Gray. All right, Charles Alt coming in. Sneakerhead here on the channel. Going to the game this weekend. I'm digging it. Says Rob, hate that we don't get to see you at the game this weekend, but if you want, I would totally go live from Bank of America Stadium from our seats or outside before the game for your show. If I'm doing a pregame, that sounds fantastic, Charles. Let's connect on that. Hit me up at 49ersmailbag@gmail.com so we can exchange numbers and whatnot and try and get you in on the show, because that would be cool to have you calling in Sneakerhead on the ground coming in live. Absolutely would be down for that. Just checking to see Look at this. Mark Hicks coming into the chat says, Rob, I'm confident that you are not a Yeezy type of guy. Might rethink our friendship if you were. With what all the 49ers have gone through this year, what do you predict your win-loss record will be? Mark, a good, close, personal friend of mine, telling me I'm not cut out for the Yeezy life, and he may be right about that. I'm remaining steadfast in my predictions. 11-6 was what I said prior to the start of the year. Had them at 2-2, where we are now, and we are at 2-2. Got those wrong, but believed we'd then go to 4-2, then 4-4, closing out 11-6. I thought we'd be on a hot streak towards the end of the year because Trey Lance would be picking it up. Now we're with Jimmy Garoppolo. You've got to hope that he doesn't have too many of those bad games. But I will say, I'm guessing that the Steelers are wishing they had kicked the tires on Jimmy Garoppolo at this point. That is Mark's team right there. So we can poke fun a little bit. Mark, good to see you in the chat. All right, we're getting to Bullpup 33 next. Bringing in one last comment. Sean 951 Niners coming into the stream says Rob Schuh. Shanny is not going to run anyone except his running back that was used in his game plan for that week. If injury happens, then next guy up, but he doesn't want turnovers to mess the game up. I would describe that as the tighter Shanahan, right? He's playing closer to the script. He's got a very intense game plan, and he's sticking with it. So I believe what Sean is cooking there is true as well. All right, we'll get back into a couple of comments. Wait, we got a super chat. We got to get the super chat. Should we bring in a true play caller? No, you have Kyle Shanahan. Should we still have an offensive coordinator? Yes, because that is Edgardo's question here. Edgardo, as an offensive coordinator, I think you want an OC because you want him calling the plays but not designing them. So maybe that is what you're asking here. Maybe we are on the same page. And in that case, I say yes. I do think Shanahan needs someone to take stuff off of his plate so that he can improve. Kurt with the good bet. Rob, cheers to Bosa for another Mayfield Panthers game. That $200 bet for Defensive Player of the Year looking good. Kurt, well played on that bet. I'm jealous, if I'm honest. All right, bringing in Bullpup 33 to the stream. Bullpup, how are you doing? We beat LA. You've got to be feeling good.
I am feeling good, Rob. How are you, man? I'm
feeling great. Healthy again, happy again. Things are looking up.
I noticed. Hey, so I was listening to a national show. Yes, someone in the national news was talking about the 49ers. They were interviewing, and I'm going to call him Charlie O from now on.
Yeah, Charlie, my man.
Charlie O. They were interviewing Charlie O, and, they were congratulating him, change of scenery. He said, you know what? I feel this is the fit for me. I feel this is the system I should be in. And they asked him, I didn't hear the whole thing because I had other stuff going on, but they asked him, well, what do you think about, how do you get up each game? How do you prepare, who do you give, credit to? Without hesitation, the first person he said is Coach Kocurek.
Yes. Kocurek is loved by that room. When they talk about him like a close personal friend, like a blood relative. And that room communicates like a band of brothers. They are a close-knit unit, have been since Kocurek has been there. And back in the Buckner days, you would always hear the stories about the sort of infamous text thread that exists among the D linemen and how close that group is, that the types of dinners that they go to. And I think that it's inspired play because of the positional coach.
Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me. I was kind of bummed when we lost Arden Key. But I think Charlie O is going to be a good fit.
Yep, I am with you. I think Charlie is going to earn himself a big contract. The question becomes whether we are able to give it to him. Do we lock him in with an extension in this season, right? Before he starts to really go off? Because right now he's scratching the surface. But I get this impression from the way in which he prepared relentlessly in the offseason. He stayed quiet, but anytime he did speak up on Twitter, it was like, just watch. Like, I'm not going to say what I'm going to do, but I'm freaking ready. And that's the sense I get from him. He's got the physical skill set that you need to be successful, and now he's in the correct system. So I expect positive momentum from him this season. And I will view it as a real shame if we don't proactively lock him down to increase our depth along the defensive line.
And as far as bringing back Jimmy Ward and Jason Verrett, really what we should do is I wouldn't look at them as we have two starters back. I don't think our defense is going to get much better. I hate to say this, but there's not a lot of room for improvement the way they're playing. I mean, you really can't ask for more than what they're doing right now. I would definitely look at it from the standpoint of we are rounding out the depth. So now, now it's like, okay, Jimmy Ward's back in. Now we know we have somebody behind him that can play.
Right.
If something would happen to Jimmy again, we're not scrambling.
Do you think that Jimmy Ward would respond well to that? Like, he is a leader on this defense. He's the most tenured defensive player. Would that be a mistake from a leadership standpoint not to put Jimmy Ward back in? Because I agree with you about Jason Verrett. I think he is depth. Yeah, I'd love to weave him in for some plays here and there, but I'm not going to just throw him into the starting lineup at any position right now. But Jimmy Ward, I am. And so I'm interested to hear your differing opinion on it.
Well, I think Jimmy Ward, and of course, every player worth their salt is going to want to play, regardless of their. So it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. I would prefer if he didn't play, give him one more game just to make sure he's 100%.
Yeah, that I can get behind.
There is no need for him to rush back.
Right.
There really isn't.
And it's one of those injuries that is constantly being re-aggravated, right? It's absolutely one that you want to be 100% right before you come back on the field, because if not, you're out for another freaking 6 weeks.
Yeah, so that's not going to benefit anyone. So let's, if we need one more game for him to stay, and I do it. Like I said, I'm not tripping over that at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now, as far as offense goes, so it's a team sport. It's not all Jimmy's fault. We're throwing away the Denver game because we're throwing it away.
Yeah, it deserves to be thrown away. It needs to be thrown in the damn trash compactor and compacted and then sent to the dump and buried 50 feet under.
Yes. So I saw the game live, and then, I went back and saw it a second time with a more clinical eye. What I noticed in that Rams game was a couple things. Yeah. Number one, so back in the Bill Walsh days, the big revolution was the pass to the running back was, it wasn't prevalent like it is now back then.
Right. Certainly not at the level that Roger Craig ended up excelling.
Right. And then everybody started copying it. It's just second nature now in the league.
Yeah.
That was considered a long handoff. So it was included as part of the inside statistics of the running game.
Statistical measurements of the league. They literally treated those as handoffs.
The Niners would.
Oh, gotcha.
The Niners would. They would count that as a run.
They use that as a handoff. Yeah.
Yeah. So the quick bubble screens to Ayuk and Debo, to me, are basically an extension of that philosophy where it's just a long handoff, basically.
Yeah. The unfortunate part of that is it doesn't feel like we hit them as consistently as you should for those. A couple of times when Jimmy throws it high, that's the placement where it needs to be. But it also is a common error on his part to overthrow those simple passes.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is he'll get it quick. The bad news is, well, you're not really sure where it's going to land, So, yes. But yeah, that's definitely that's going to continue to be part of the arsenal for sure.
I would agree. How do you think we're going to handle Carolina? Is this going to be a game where I can feel like I'm not going to have a heart attack, or will I be on the edge of my freaking seat and Carolina will have the ball in the fourth quarter with a one possession lead or less by the Niners? Okay, so keeping on that theme of the offense, because we know the defense is going to show up. We do.
So the question is going to be who's going to show up on the offense, right, for us. So the thing is, when I watched the game again, it didn't matter who it was. When you saw the Rams make a play, it was because somebody didn't hold their block. So I noticed that on the running games, whether it be a wide receiver, whether it be a tight end, whether it be a lineman, it was because they didn't hold their block.
The defender got by him.
Yep. And you in Kyle's system, you have to hold your block. I mean, it's not a one cut like in the Harbaugh days when you would just smash smile somebody and get them out of the way. It's just a little bit different.
It is very different.
So, the good thing is that they didn't allow a sack. So that
was fantastic. Very clean game by the O-line.
That is definitely a huge step in the right direction. Because like I said last time, Jimmy needs a good offensive line. He needs good offensive line play to shine.
Yeah.
He's not a scrambler. He's not a guy who's going to go out of the pocket and that's just not his game. He needs a clean pocket.
Yeah.
So even when he missed the throw, everybody was blaming Jimmy for missing Charlie Warner on that. Well, Charlie Warner kind of run the right. Not the wrong route, but he leveraged to the inside. That throw is always to the outside shoulder.
Yeah, I think that's a fair one to question whether that was Jimmy's bad or whether that was Warner's bad, because I agree that looked to me as if Jimmy was just throwing the corner and Warner runs the post. And so that's very easily one where once he has a certain leverage on the defender, he's supposed to take a route. And my guess is Jimmy probably got that one right. It's oftentimes the quarterback that sees that leverage point and throws it anticipating, but they're just not on the same page.
Yep. And Kittle didn't get his second foot inbound.
Nope. That was painful. That cost me a fantasy game. Not that that's any relevance to the Niners winning or losing, but yeah, that was rough. I had called it too. I was like, play action to Kittle here in a text to my father. And no, it was incomplete. I called the right play though.
So if we do not defeat ourselves on offense, I see us with the capability, even with a good defense, because we have a good defense, which will give us the ball, maybe even score on their own.
Yeah.
We can hit 30 this week.
30. I would love it. I would love to see the offense put up 30. I think we need a game like that.
I don't think the offense is going to put up 30, but it's going to be in the high 20s. Yeah, high 20s. Like a 32-13 kind of game, something like that. Yeah, it's there. I mean, we've shown progression. If they continue to progress, yes, we will hit 30.
I love to see it. Absolutely. Give me a quick breakout player on each side of the ball as we wrap this up. Who do you see on defense as the player to watch, and who's the player on offense to watch?
So I'm going to say a name on defense that's going to bring you a smile, because I have seen him contributing more and more. And I think this may be his breakout game, is Drake Jackson.
Drake Jackson, the rookie, get him some work. I've been seeing good things from him. Pressures in the right place. I agree. I think it's only a matter of time before the stats start to mount.
And so they're going to be paying a lot of attention to Bosa, whoever lines up on the middle.
They love to double team Bosa. They'll be all over it. Who's going to be the offensive star?
Offensive star. Well, it's going to have to be Kittle.
Kittle. We need a breakout game from George Kittle. I need a breakout game from George Kittle. I predict him as 1,000 yards receiving. He is not on pace. Let me just update you with that.
Yeah. But I won't be surprised if it turns out to be Debo all over again, because Debo's going to be Debo.
Debo does Debo things. Hey, always a pleasure talking to you, Bullpup. I hope that we can talk about another win next week after Carolina, my friend.
All right, man. You take care.
Hey, you too. Have a good evening. Enjoy the game on Sunday. Bye-bye. All right, we are bringing in the super chat first, and CJ Gray right after. Raphael 562 Niners Sneakerhead here on the channel says the Panthers are 1-26 when the opponent scores over 17 points under Matt Rule. I have the Niners winning 24-10. Matt Rule is not going to be the coach of the Carolina Panthers for very much longer. And my fear is that he is like, a caged animal in that respect. He's desperate. He is desperate for a win. He needs to save his job. He needs to save the job of everyone on his staff. And I get nervous in games like that. The parity in the NFL is real. The difference between the best team and the worst team is not quite as much as most people would think. And even though the Niners roster is one of the best in the league and the Panthers might be near the bottom, I still believe that you have to come in focused with a serious game plan, cannot take this for granted, cannot overlook the short week. So I'm a little nervous about it as a potential trap game, but I like this prediction right here. All right, we are bringing in CJ Gray to the program. CJ, good to see you, my friend. Love the residency cap. That is sick.
I appreciate it, Rob.
Absolutely, man. How you doing?
Doing well. We won Monday. That's a good start.
Yes, it is. That's a blessing for the week.
The defense has validated that I can trust them week in and
right.
Week in. I know for a fact that they're going to come off the bus and they're going to show up. So you can kind of know what you're going to get out of them.
Yeah. Yes, you can. They are consistent to this point. They come out to play every week. My only concern, and I want to know what you think about this, they played 74 snaps each of the last two games. That's a high snap count, and they're coming off of a short week traveling to play Carolina. Do you think that's a concern, and do you think the 49ers try to address it by leaning very heavily on the run game, attempting to make this one of those 30 to 35 carry type of games?
We want, that's the goal every week from us.
It is the goal every week.
That's the goal every week.
Those are facts, my friend.
I mean, you get nervous when you're throwing it with Jimmy Moore, and the only way that you don't get nervous is if they're screen passes or something like that. If we can get,
well, even then, if it's a backward screen pass, I'm holding my breath, man.
Yeah. So, but to get those tunnel screens in there, to get things going horizontal, to get defenses to be misdirected and
spread them out
on them, so we can get back to running the football. Like that's what we really want to do. We got five third down conversions. That's better than one.
It is
from the Sunday night game, but Jimmy is the only thing Jimmy did well for me, and my concern was he didn't turn it over.
That's right. He was efficient.
And that's the only thing.
Not efficient. He was clean.
And that's the only thing I want from Jimmy. Just don't turn it over. But, man, I don't know who's got to get together with him. I don't know if it's Greasy. I don't know if it's Shanahan. I don't know who needs to get together with him and figure out where is his primary read at. Because at times when you see people running wide open, especially the Kittle, there's a play to Kittle that was in the game where he threw his hands up. It was just as open as you can be, and it looked like the play was designed to flow one way, and then Kittle come out the other way, and then you hit Kittle, and there's no, if he throws it to Kittle, there's hardly nobody there with a big angry man coming down.
He's got one man to beat to the end zone type of thing.
Hardly nobody to beat in that play. When you look at the film, it's even uglier than when you saw it happen live. And those are points that's not on the board. And these are and then also the Brandon Ayuk touchdown. He threw a pass to Kittle, and it would have been like a Sports Center highlight if Kittle gets his second foot down. But the man was double covered. Yeah. Brandon Ayuk juked out Jalen Ramsey, went to the streak to the pylon. He looked at him and then didn't throw it. And then took his eyes off of him, and then he threw it to double coverage into Kittle, which, I mean, we had a chip shot field goal situation right there. We're talking about him getting intercepted there. The pass, the big play to Debo, that was a play if that's a different cornerback, if that's one of your more echelon corners, that's intercepting. It's going back for 6.
That's entirely possible.
And because I think that was a young player. I think that was a rookie on Debo in that instance where he mossed him and then took it to the house.
Yeah, right.
And
that was an instance, that was where the ball needed to be high. And I do think that Jimmy's placement on that one was pretty spot on because it felt like either it was going to be Debo or no one. To your point, if it's a superior cornerback, maybe it's a different story.
I mean, but I think it's one of those throws where he had a horseshoe up his behind.
Getting lucky.
I just don't think that he was, man, I'm going to put it up high. I'm going to high ball it for Debo, he's not a high ball point.
He's not a high point kind of player.
Yeah, no. He's not that type of player.
He's not that tall. Doesn't have huge long arms.
And I feel like if Jimmy would have just threw one of his normal Jimmy passes in that instance, it would have been a pick six.
I think so too.
And it just happened to be off target. It just happened to be high and happened to be off target. Debo was able to get it, and snatch it away from the defender and then do his thing. But
I like how we're assuming different things. I'm assuming he tried to place it high. You're like, this is Jimmy we're talking about. He tried to put it right on him, and the man sailed the pass.
Yeah, he sailed the pass,
and that's a reasonable assertion, I got to say.
And Debo just caught it, and he did his thing. So I come out of this game pleased about winning. I mean,
yes,
don't get me wrong. I like
winning is good.
Win is good, but we could have that should have been a smoke out.
Yeah,
that should have been like, man, we should have put on we probably should have put on 40 on them. We should have hung at least 40 on them.
Because it was a physical ass whooping. It was. It just didn't reflect that on the scoreboard. And it at the fourth quarter, it was every chance for the Rams to come back into that one. That was my panic attack. Was like, here we go again. Because the team that we dominated, and maybe they're going to get back into it.
And then the Charlie Warner pass, I question. I don't know if the scheme just had Warner go out there because it was just the most unsuspecting player to be out there that Shanahan could scheme and say they're never going to pay attention to him, and so I'll run him out there for Jimmy to throw that pass. But man,
and it would have normally been Dwelly, but he was dinged up, and so it was Warner. But not that that's that much better. A little bit better. Dwelly's got better hands than Warner for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dwelly would have been in a better position to receive that pass than Charlie Warner was. I agree. But it was, I don't know, because that ball seemed to just float up there.
It did float. It was.
And it was a floater and something that you had to really had to locate because it was up there for a long time because it's one of those deep passes and Jimmy's arm is not good enough to make the ball down there. It just isn't. So I probably saw about at least 14 points, 17 points left on that field.
Yeah, so, and it's fair to call out that, like, you're going to leave passes on the field every game. It's the number of passes that you leave on the field, right? It's the frequency with which that is happening that is concerning. You can't expect Jimmy to hit them all. He's not going to see them all. He's not going to hit them all. But he's got to hit a higher percentage if this offense is going to continue to be successful and complement this defense. So I'm with you on that. I want to ask you this question because it's one that I'm intrigued by. Quesadilla Thrilla 71, Sneakerhead here on the channel, saying, Rob, do you think it's a mistake to not utilize Danny Gray? I do. I absolutely believe that is a mistake because my theory is the dude's so fast that, like, Jimmy's not going to overthrow him the way he did. God, I'm going to blank on, man. Say that one more time. Yeah. So you just chuck it up and you let him get underneath it. To me, it is, it's criminal to underutilize Danny Gray. And I would suspect that we do see him in a couple of these games coming up.
So I live in North Carolina. Of course, I've explained this before. I'm going to be in Charlotte. So I'll be able to, this will be my final regular season game that I'll attend this season.
Nice.
It's going to be supposed to be sunny, it's supposed to be 69 degrees. And so good fall weather football game. I just hope that we just don't go out there and lose. And the only way that's going to happen to me is if Jimmy turns it over. Jimmy can sail passes, miss reads, and all this other stuff, man. But if he just don't give it to them, that's all I'm hoping for. And then we probably should be able to win.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, do you see this as being should be able to win handily, or is this one going to be closer than people think it's going to be?
It's going to be closer than people think it's going to be. Our offense with Jimmy at the controls I mean, it can work, but it's just there's these limitations, and then beyond his limitations, just not like the Kittle throw is way in his wheelhouse to hit. The Brandon Ayuk throw for the touchdown, that's in his wheelhouse to hit. And so when you're not seeing him hit things that's even within his skill set to hit, those things make me concerned. And be able to sustain drives and stuff like that, and leaving our defense on the field because even though we converted 5 third downs, it was 5 for 12.
Right.
So it still won't rate.
No, it was not.
And so
we continued to give the Rams opportunities. The defense continued to shut them down, but the offense continued to provide instances where the Rams could have gotten back into this game.
And then Carolina's defense is pretty good. They're not a slouch on defense.
They are not.
And so
and you would expect that, like I said, they are backs are against the wall. They're coming out swinging. It's not like they're going quietly into the good night right now.
Their season is basically on the line Sunday.
Yeah.
And
Baker's freaking next contract is on the line. Matt Rule's next contract or job is on the line. I'm with you.
Yeah, so they are hungry for a win. We're coming off a high of winning and stuff like that. Got the national media flip-flopping, talking about, from last week we're in the garbage to this week, we're contenders again. And
I love it.
And so it's just it's that whole vibe and that whole mood, and it's eerie. I just don't like predicting wins and talking about what we're gonna do to another team.
Yeah.
I got humbled in Chicago to the ninth power, getting so
me too.
Losing.
Yeah.
So I can't do it anymore, Rob.
We left that game like a couple of wet dogs, man. Just looking sad, sorry, tail between our legs, man. That was not fun.
So, all right. Well, I just hope for a win. Hope that our defense and smothers them. Hopefully we can score some touchdowns on defense, blow the thing open in the first half, so it's not in doubt. So I could just sit back and talk to the faithful and have a good positive atmosphere for our fans and stuff like that.
Love it.
And enjoy the day and not be sweating.
Yes, I hope that you do, man. I had a great time in Carolina when I went down there for the playoffs I think that was 2013. Love the fans there. Really friendly people, man. I hope you have a beautiful day at the game. Enjoy some good food, some good sunshine, and a W most of all.
All right. Welcome anybody to come to Carolina. Hope y'all have a good time.
Appreciate you, CJ. I hope I'm talking to you next week after a win, my friend.
All right.
Take care, brother. All right, we are bringing in Sean951 to the stream. He was able to make it. Just got 2 super chats. Got to hit real quick. And then we got Elvis in the building. You know we love to bring in Elvis from Australia. Jaguile56, Sneakerhead here on the channel. Says, Rob, mad props to our depth players who have picked up the slack for our injured players. Kevin Given, Hassan Ridgway, Charlie O'Menahue. Yeah, Charlie, we're coining that one. And our defensive line, Ross Dwelly, Colton McKivitz, man, did he look good. Shame that he's out now, too. Got to throw Jalen Moore in there, even though he's struggling a little bit. And Jeff Wilson Jr. clocking 21 miles an hour on the frickin' radar gun. Loving it. He's still got some juice. Jaguile coming back in, says, Rob, here's the prediction, 24-13 Niners. Let's go, faithful. Stay blessed. Appreciate you. Love the prediction. Okay, let's get Sean951 Niners into the stream. Sean, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, Rob. This may be a short, bad call because I'm going through a rough patch driving home from work. So if it starts getting nasty, just cut me off.
You got it, my friend. You got it, but you sound good right now.
All right, good. I didn't want to do the video because I think that would make it even worse.
Yeah, your bandwidth would get eaten up real quick on that one. All right, so what are you feeling about the win, and what are you feeling about the game coming up, my friend?
Yeah, I was good with the win. It was a typical Ram game, nothing different. Same quarterback, same defense we're playing against. The only difference was our defense is top in the league this time. So, you're going to see performances like that where we're just giving up field goals because that's been the trend the first 4 weeks. But
amen to that.
Offensively, though, I mean, I've listened to everybody, critiquing Jimmy and his passes and this and that. The one thing we all, and I'm not a Jimmy lover, but the one thing we all cannot forget, let's please not forget, the dude has been playing football for like 2 weeks.
Yes.
The guy literally had 6 months off through the trainers on the side of the field and got thrown right into duties in Seattle, put up 23 points, and then had a week of practice, sucked in Denver, had a week of practice, and played better and good enough to beat our division rival.
Yep.
So, I mean, let's let this dude play a couple games. If he can't progress in these next 2 weeks against 2 bad football teams, then fine. But let's see if Jimmy can get back to Jimmy. I mean,
I like that. Preaching patience.
Yeah, he's playing for money. I mean, the dude literally is playing for $100,000 a game because that's what he gets per win. And, I mean, it's been 2 weeks. He had progression. So let's see what happens this week. Let's see what happens next week. And then we'll know for real if we can compete with Kansas City offensively. We know we're going to compete defensively, but if you can take care of business these next 2 games, handily. Like, I'm talking, I have prediction of 35-3 in this game, and then I'll look at Atlanta next week. But if we can't put up
that prediction, brother.
Yeah, if we can't put up 5 touchdowns, I don't even care if the defense gives us all 5. But as long as we can put up 35 points, then I'll feel good. I mean, that's what I'm looking at this week, and that's where I'm at. Everyone in the chat thinks I'm crazy because we don't blow anybody out, but we blew out Seattle. We didn't even give up any points to Seattle. The special teams did, and look how good Geno Smith's been playing since he played us. That's no coincidence. Our defense shut him down. So, that's where I think the trend is going to continue. I think we're going to shut down Carolina. I'd be shocked if they got over 150 yards offense.
Yes. I love that prediction. I can't go that bold because I'm just worried that the snap count is adding up and that it's a short week. My hope is that we can really lean on the run game. If we get the run game going as we have in years past on one of those rollouts, one of those where you're rolling over the other team, then I could see that type of a game where we dominate time of possession. The defense continues to hit. What I want to touch on is your comments on Jimmy Garoppolo, because I think you are preaching the truth there, and it doesn't excuse everything. It doesn't mean that we have to excuse all of Jimmy Garoppolo's play, but it adds context to it. You have to understand that when Tom Brady comes out and he struggles early in the season, we say, oh, well, he didn't get many reps in preseason. I'm not comparing Jimmy Garoppolo to Tom Brady at all, but you need those preseason reps. You've got to get in the practice. And I just want to call out, we got a new member, a new sneakerhead, Leonard JG on the channel. Welcome to the sneakerhead community, my friend. Welcome to the channel. All right, so what do you see as the breakout stars in this one? Give me an offense and a defensive player who are going to crush it.
Well, every single defensive player is already crushing it. So I will go with, I don't know if it was the last call or the call before. I'm going to go with Drake Jackson, but here's the only reason why I'm going with Drake Jackson. So none of you guys know this. He went to my high school, Centennial High School here in Corona, top 10 in the nation every year. So everyone in my city talks about this dude. None of them like the Niners, but they talk about him. So I got to humble him and be like, hey, hold on. He's a rookie. He doesn't play all the snaps. He's getting like Bosa-type snaps from 2019. But the one good thing that I'm seeing from him is each game, he's gotten better and better and better. The guy's literally getting pressures on the QB on plays where they're, even singling Bosa, and he may not get the pressure. So I think what it's going to end up doing is by him being a breakout on the defense, I think you're going to see a couple more sacks from Kerry Hyder and from Givens and from Amenahue combined.
Yes. I love it. Absolutely love it. Kevin Givens getting the get off, huh?
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, think about any concept in life. Like if all your brothers were successful in your house, wouldn't you work your butt off to try to be successful so your parents don't look at you like WTF? I mean,
yes,
that's got to be the defensive room on Monday mornings and Tuesday mornings and Friday mornings after Thursday night games. Like when you're watching film, do you want to be the only guy that they're like, what in the hell? Like, Givens, dude, bro, like, what are you doing?
Right.
So it's forcing them and making them to play to their competition.
Forces them to step up.
Yeah, you may not be as talented, and we're not asking you to have the same stats. We're asking you for the same effort. And when your opportunities come, show us why you deserve to be part of that elite group of D linemen. And every one of them have. Their effort has been relentless, regardless of week one. So
true. I love that call out. Absolutely love that call out. Are you at all concerned about the snaps that are adding up for the defense? Do you have any fear, as I do, that they may be a little bit winded headed into this one?
You know, that's hard. That's hard to say. I mean, they didn't look winded to me on snap 74 against LA.
They did not.
So for me to think, you know, and I'm just going to use this based on, you know, myself, you know, in life in terms of success. Like, if I know I'm number one at something, you know, like they say in life, it's not, the hard part's not getting to number one. The hard part is sustaining to be number one.
Right.
So you work harder to sustain it than you did to get there, because you're like, I'll get there someday. And when I do, great. But it's, can I keep that? And that's the biggest thing with this defense. They already know in their mind, if I don't play like a number one defense right now, we could lose 11-10 or 19-10.
Right.
So because of that, they got to keep the pedal to the metal, and they don't have a choice. As long as we can keep our front D line rotated in like we do, in and out, I don't think we'll ever be winded there, because that's not a true 74 snaps for that line. The 74 snaps is for the back half of our team, you know. But ultimately, the CBs and the safeties are really not getting 74 true snaps either, because the amount of sacks and pressures we're getting are getting a lot of throwaways and a lot of sacks.
Yeah.
So they may be only playing for 3 seconds and looking back at the quarterback and slowing down and stopping, getting to the next play. Where the guys are getting the wear and tear is Greenlaw and Warner.
Yeah, the linebackers.
Those are the guys. Those are the only guys, because they're the heavy guys, although they're not heavy in terms of like big, but I mean, they're the heaviest, running the hardest, running on every play, filling gaps, hitting O-linemen, running sideline to sideline. They're the two that I would be cautious of, to say, hey, you know what? If we can get a big enough lead, put in a couple other guys and let those guys get off their feet. That would probably be my only concern from that side of the ball right now at week 4.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, hopefully we're talking next week about a freaking win over the Carolina Panthers. I love the score prediction, 35-3. You did have a couple of people saying that's an aggressive score prediction, but you had people on board with you as well. NYCE 1030 was right there with you, saying you are preaching it feels like Sunday, because you're telling us the truth there. So you got people that believe it, and this defense is special enough to put up that kind of performance. I look forward to having you on, video included, next week to be talking about that dominant win, my friend.
Yes, sir. I'm cutting out a lot here, man. So
you are.
I'll love y'all faithful, and I'll see you.
Great to talk to you, Sean. We will talk to you next week, my friend. Thank you for calling in. We are closing this one out with Elvis, who is in the building. Love it. Spy Nick Danger coming in to do the good deed. Hey, if you're still here and you're still watching, do me that favor. Hit the like button before your way out. Let's bring Elvis into the building to talk about a Niners win. Elvis, love the hat, love the smile. How you feeling, my friend?
A lot better. You know, man, I'm so happy that we finally got a win.
Me too, my friend. That was fantastic. Were you able to, when a game is on at Monday night, is that a time that's watchable for you, or do you have to catch the replay?
I was lucky because it was like a long weekend here. Nice. So Monday was a public holiday. In the building industry, we get a roster day off the following day, which is Tuesday. So I got to stay home and watch the game.
Nice. That's fantastic. Yeah. Saw the game live, saw the domination. What were you most impressed by in that one? What really stood out to you?
Oh, just to solidify that our defense is number one.
It really is. It really is. It feels so good to be able to say that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I knew they were, but to dominate the Rams like that, especially Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, definitely.
The Debo clip that he then posted to Jalen Ramsey, like the trash talk that has come out of this interaction and running over Jalen, who seemed to be making a business decision there, right? Like I'm going to feign like I'm trying to tackle you, but I'm not really trying to tackle you.
Yeah, like Debo said, he could see that in their eyes, like none of them want to tackle him. And as soon as he lines up out, in the slot or anywhere, they're like looking at him like, oh, no, please don't give the ball to him.
Yes,
just right straight over the top of him.
I love it. I love it. Who are you most impressed on defense? Who's really standing on a unit that is unbelievable? Who is it that has wowed you to this point?
I'm with Sean and some of the other guys. Drake Jackson.
Drake Jackson.
He is getting better and better in every game. Even that the sack from Ibicom, that second person that just came in behind was Drake Jackson.
Drake Jackson.
So if Ibicom missed him, it would have been Drake. So Drake Jackson, definitely.
I'm super excited. I agree that in rewatching the clips and watching the games, you're seeing him in the frame in a lot of critical areas. And as a defensive lineman, there is both skill and the ability to get to the point of the attack where the football is being thrown from. And there's luck involved, right? Sometimes the quarterback just runs right into you. So what I see with Drake Jackson is similar to what I think you guys are describing, that he's around the ball a lot. He's bringing pressure. And he's there. Eventually, those are going to turn into statistics. Eventually, they're going to be sacks.
And definitely, and both have even talked about him. He's like, I don't think everyone probably agreed with Bosa because obviously we didn't see that Bosa's like, oh, he can bend and do everything already. Yeah. He's just got to fine tune everything. And I'm like watching him and seeing him each game. Yeah, he is definitely getting better and better.
So amazing. I'm thrilled about him. I'm thrilled about Charles Omenihu. I see this defensive line, if they're able to stay healthy throughout this season, as finally being deep enough to do what we were unable to do against Kansas City. Keep the rotation going and keep the pressure coming against that opposing offense and not running out of gas. And you are seeing it in the defense being out there for 74 plays the last two games. And to Sean's point, he said, hey, I didn't think they were gassed at the end of LA. Nor did I, if I'm being honest.
Same. No, I felt the same. No, I felt they could play another quarter. The way they're playing, the rotation, is perfect. Like everyone, we lost Armstead during the game, but Ridgeway and Givens, man, solid.
Hassan Ridgeway has been a phenomenal signing. I was very excited about adding him, particularly in understanding that we were most likely losing DJ Jones. Maybe we already had lost DJ Jones at that point, but the Ridgeway contract felt reasonable and seemed like, hey, a run stuffer who can clog the middle in this defense.
Definitely. Yeah, oh man, our defense is it's just lit.
Yes, it is. Who do you expect to have a big game this week? Because you're looking at an elite defense, number one in the league, going up against maybe the 32nd ranked offense in the league. You would expect this defense to feast. But do you have that expectation? And who do you expect to have a big game?
I'm with Sean. I'm expecting. I would love the team, and like they got the potential to do that. You know what I mean? They got with all the key players and everyone playing well. You know what I mean? I'm expecting Kittle to have a big game. I hope Kittle gets more touches, more passes. But I'm expecting like to hit at least in the high 20s or even 30 plus, because I lost my multi. I got everyone. I had the Niners to win 13 plus, which they did. I had Jeff Wilson, Debo, and Kittle to score a touchdown.
Oh no!
Yeah, and I put $10 on it, and it was going to pay me $4,000.
Oh my God, Elvis, you were this close.
Yes, this close, and I was like jumping, screaming when Kittle got the touchdown. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, what are they replaying for? And then I saw one leg go down, and then I saw the other leg go onto the touchdown. And I was like, no. I was like, all right, we still got time. We still got time to give Kittle another touchdown. No. It happened.
Yeah, that cost me a fantasy win, but I'll tell you what, that did not cost me $4,000. So
Yeah.
I would be,
Look, it was
I'd be losing
$10.
it.
You know what I mean? It was $10 on my bar. Like, 10 turned into $4,000. Hell yeah.
Oh
But
my
like,
God.
I was just happy I kind of got all my prediction right. Like, you know what I mean? Them winning by a big margin, 13 plus. But I'm with Sean with Jimmy. Like, I'm just happy we're progressing in the right way.
Yes.
Especially with Jimmy. I'm just hopefully like we can keep on moving upwards and not stall and get better and better. And and like what I said, the potential for us to put we can be like Kansas City, putting points on, you know what I mean? It's just us, still working harder and, gelling a lot better, but we're progressing in the right way, upwards.
Yes. You see glimpses of it, right? You see glimpses of what this offense could be. It moves in halts and stops, right? Something, they shoot themselves in the foot, or Jimmy makes an error, or he doesn't see a player that was schemed wide open. And so the offense isn't quite clicking on all cylinders, but you see flashes where you're like, dude, just get it together. And this team could be high flying.
Yeah. I'll just think of some of the reporters on Sports Tonight and all the other shows saying like, LA will like down third string, fourth string. I said, yeah, but we had two rookies. You know what I mean?
Right.
We had two rookies. You know what I mean? We're down a few men, so that can't be their excuse. You know what I mean? That it was the O line. You know what I mean? Our O line's still learning to gel together too, but our O line managed to play as a unit. And what I saw, you know what I mean? And Jimmy standing up right.
Yeah, calling out they improved from week 3 to week 4. The offensive line definitely looked sharp. The offense in general improved from week 3 to week 4. Yeah,
definitely. You know what I mean? And then I just hope, we keep progressing up with the O-line, like not stall so much. But yes, I saw a few things, like, you know what I mean, that Jimmy could do, but I'm not gonna hit down on Jim because, you know what I mean, we got the win, but also he played a lot better. You know what I mean? Yes, we could have we did much better on our third downs. You know what I mean? Slowly but surely we're moving up. You know what I mean, with the offense.
Progress.
Yes, progress, definitely.
That's what we need. And this is the game to continue that progress. Hopefully the defense is able to force Carolina into a significant number of 3-and-outs, putting our offense in a position to be successful, potentially setting them up with positive field position. And this could be the type of game that you really start to feel that vibe of, hey, the offense is clicking, and now we see the true potential of what this team could be.
Well, I'm with you on that, definitely. And that at the same time, their defense is no joke.
No joke.
Carolina's defense is no joke. Like they got a very decent secondary.
J.C. Horn is fantastic secondary player.
Is good too. You know what I mean? Like if you watch all the other games, they've been in it.
Yes.
To win, you know what I mean? It's their offense has played shit.
Shanahan is not lying when he says that this team could have been 4-0. The Carolina Panthers could have easily been 4-0.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm saying this is a good test for our offense.
Yep.
To win. Oh, sorry. That was my youngest brother. There's my youngest brother. So hello.
Welcome to the stream. We love having you on live. Say, tell everybody who your favorite team is.
Who's your favorite team?
You.
Oh, you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was very kind of you. I was expecting it to be the San Francisco 49ers.
Come on, it's 49ers.
40.
Yes, 49ers.
Okay, come on, Zara. Yeah, no, this is almost like the same test as Denver, but hopefully our offense clicks into gear, and, you know what I mean, and show the rest of the league our offense is no joke.
Yes, to come out to play and complement what the defense is able to do. I know she's going to be excited to watch this game.
Yes, definitely. She'll be there to watch the game.
That's fantastic. Hey, well, I always appreciate the calls. Always appreciate talking to you. I know Thursday night football has started now, but we will be back on next week. I hope we're breaking down another win, Elvis, and I hope that you are able to bring our friend here on again as well.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate the time. Always love talking to you, Rob. Yeah, and hopefully, like what I said, if they bring a game here to Australia, yeah, man, I got you.
That's awesome. What's your daughter's name there so that we can say hello to her?
Zyla.
Zyla, it's a pleasure to meet you, Zyla. You are adorable. Thank you so much for coming on the program, and I hope that you also get to watch a Niners win.
Yeah, definitely. Go Niners.
Go Niners. Take care, Elvis. Great to see you,
You
my
too,
friend.
Rob. Take care. See you too.
Bye-bye. That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. Love the energy that comes from bringing on a child to the stream. Fantastic. I'm pumped for this game. This is one where we start to feel good about this team. We get back into the win column for a second week. Let's do this. Let's beat the Panthers. Let's move on from that beginning to the ugly offensive performance. No, let's watch our offense get on track. Watch Jimmy Garoppolo shake off a little bit more of that rust, lean on the skill position players that are so phenomenal within this team. And oh, by the way, that freaking defense that comes to play. Pack your defense, pack your run game, and all of the fans who are going to be there. CJ Gray, Charles, I appreciate that game, appreciate that moment, and hopefully you get yourselves a big dub to celebrate. That's what I'm hoping for as well. I'll be back on tomorrow with Jack Hammer. Look for our program to be on about that 4 p.m. hour. You can always follow me on Twitter if you want to know when there will be scheduling changes. Also try to put that out on YouTube as well. Thank you very much for joining me today. You know the drill. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. Hit the like button before you go, and cheers, faithful.